video is sponsored by Grammarly. What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Alicia and today we're going to be talking about a groundbreaking video topic, something you've never seen before on my channel here, and that is using my iPad. The iPad Pro as a student. I know, don't fall off your seats, I know how shocking it is.
But here we are again.
And we're going to be talking about ways you can enhance the use of your iPad as a student. Different apps you can use, different keyboard shortcuts, ways to multitask on the iPad. So if you're interested in that, then keep watching this video and I'll share with you everything I've discovered. Also, just as a challenge and because why not, there is a word floating around in this video somewhere. The first person who can find it and comment it down below, I will give you a shout out in my next video and also follow you on Instagram. So try and find it. It may have already been in the video, it may be later on. I don't know, I'm not gonna tell you. So good luck and I hope you find it. The first tip I would have is to synchronize all of your apps on your iPad with your laptop. I'd recommend you do this for the main apps that you use to study with. So as I'm showing you here, Notion and Anki are two obvious examples you could do this with. With Notion, it's really easy to synchronize. All I do is log into the same account on my iPad and laptop, and any edits you make to your workspace should come up on the other device. Just to showcase this, I'm showing you here on my iPad, I'm deleting one of the toggle list flashcards, and then when I bring it up on my laptop, almost immediately it disappears and reverts back to whatever I've changed on my iPad. And similarly on Anki, all you have to do is make sure you're logged into the same account and then press synchronize on the bottom right hand corner. So the reason why I think syncing your devices is really important is because it helps you to organize all of your information, and also is really helpful if, say for example, you only have your phone or your iPad and you need to jot something down, maybe an idea comes in your head. This happens to me a lot with like video ideas. If a random one pops into my head, I'll jot it down on my Notion mobile app, and then when I get home and I need to like plan out that video, I'll go on my laptop and the idea is there because it's all synced together. The last thing you can do related to synchronizing is if you log into your Apple ID on your laptop and your iPad, then you can actually bring up the Safari view on your iPad with whatever's being viewed on your laptop. So it'll load the same page, and that can help in situations where, say for example, you need to copy the link of a certain website. Then you don't have to go through the process of like sending the link through an email or something. The next productivity hack that can help you to enhance your iPad experience is the use of the different iPad keyboards. So when I mention the keyboards, I'm not just talking about having the keyboard accessory, but also just the type of inbuilt keyboards you can put in your iPad. Besides your regular emoji keyboard and like different languages, one that has helped me with my overall productivity when I'm studying is Grammarly. So for those of you who don't know, Grammarly is a digital writing assistant that can help you basically be more clear and effective in your communication. As a student, more than anything, you need to be able to effectively communicate. So whether that's writing emails to your professors or writing assignment, it's all about effective communication to the reader so they can understand what you're trying to write. I actually used Grammarly in high school, but I had it as a browser extension on Safari on my laptop. But now Grammarly is actually offered across all different devices, so including your iPad. You can download the Grammarly app on the App Store. When you download the app, it'll not only download the keyboard, but also the editor. The documents that you edit within the Grammarly editor on your iPad also syncs up perfectly with the laptop version, so that makes it easy to seamlessly jump between the devices as well. You can actually even import it as a keyboard within the settings, and when you type things out, so say for example, you're writing your report on Word document on your iPad, it can check all your text and not only give you grammar feedback, but also vocabulary, all that stuff you need as a student. So as I mentioned, Grammarly has a free version, and when you sign up, you'll get basic spell checks and grammar checks, but when you upgrade to Grammarly Premium, you can get access to much more advanced writing feedback. So on the Grammarly keyboard, it will give you more vocabulary suggestions, ways to be more concise, as well as fluent. In the Grammarly editor, the premium version will also have an added plagiarism checker and many more writing suggestions that can improve the clarity and engagement of your writing. So I find this particularly helpful if I have to write like a report. Last semester I had a physiology lab report I had to write up, and like when you're doing those discussions and introductions, you really want to be concise and effective, and a lot of the time there is a word count. So with the premium version of Grammarly, if you get it to check your text and run through all the different suggestions, it can help you find ways to be more concise and say things in much fewer words to save you on that word count. So if you think you'd be interested, you can actually try Grammarly Premium out for 20% off. If you go to grammarly.com/studycollab, you'll get 20% off on Grammarly Premium and catch you getting those higher grades because you're being an effective communicator. The next productivity hack I have in terms of the keyboards is learning different keyboard shortcuts that can increase the speed of your workflow. Some really basic ones that I find myself using the most often is Command H, which will return you back to the home screen, and also Command Spacebar will bring up the search bar. If you want to screenshot, the keyboard shortcut is exactly the same as it is on your laptop. You press Command Shift 3 for the entire screen and then Command Shift 4 if you only want a certain section. This is really helpful if you need to screenshot part of the lecture slides for your notes, or just screenshotting in general, I guess. And finally, with the keyboard shortcuts, if you want to figure out which one you need to use, when you're in a certain app and you hold down the command button, it should bring up the different keyboard shortcuts that you can use within that app specifically. The next iPad productivity hack I have is all about multitasking. So on the iPad, you can bring up at most 3 different applications at a time. Usually if you have 2 open, it's the most ideal because it'll fill up the entire screen, but you can have 3 if you really need to. All you have to do is bring up the dock from the bottom. So in a certain application and you pull up from the bottom middle of the screen, it'll bring up the dock. Whatever app you want to open, just hold down on it and then pull it up to the right side of the screen. And then if you sort of flick down a little bit, it'll insert itself as a split screen. To open up that third application, repeat the same process, but this one will come up as a sliding window that you can move around from left to right. And then to get rid of that, all you have to do is just slide it all the way to the right and it should disappear. Situations where I would find this the most helpful is, say for example, I'm writing notes on Notion or writing my active recall flashcards. I can bring up my lecture notes on GoodNotes on the other half of the screen, and that way it acts as a really good split screen that I can view the notes and then write my flashcards based on those notes. Some other scenarios where this may be helpful is, say for example, you need to attend a Zoom meeting and then also write your notes, or if you need to watch a lecture recording and jot down any notes. The last tip that I would have that can increase your productivity on the iPad is having certain organization systems in place. In terms of getting access to your files, I think the best thing to do is to download the apps related to your cloud storage. So for me, I use OneDrive because that's what my uni uses, but you can also try Google Drive, Dropbox. All those sorts of cloud storages are really good because in most cases your iPad probably doesn't have as much storage as your laptop, so if you can access it through the cloud, then that's really helpful. And I also just find that those organization systems are a lot easier to use than the Files app on the iPad. I find that really hard to navigate, and also it's a lot easier if it's connected to how your files are already organized on your laptop. And finally, my last tip is in relation to your homepage. So something that I just recently started doing is I've changed my settings so that on my home screen, I have this little today view, and on there it has a bunch of keyboard shortcuts. It has my daily to-do list and also just access to other frequently used apps on my iPad. If you want to customize what comes up on this today view, then you just scroll down and press edit, and then you can pin certain apps, and you can also add certain ones and remove which ones that you don't want in your today view. I usually write my daily to-do list on an app called Todoist. By pinning this app on my today view, it allows me to add tasks straight away, and I can also really easily view my prioritized tasks for that day, and I can check them off right on my homepage, which is really handy. And then above that, I've set some keyboard shortcuts where it opens up my most frequently used locations on my iPad. So for me, it's my lecture notes on GoodNotes, and I've separated them by subject. And then in terms of the app organization itself, there's nothing too special about it. On the front page is just My most frequently used apps are the ones I usually reach for on my iPad specifically. And as you switch over to the next page, I've got more my school oriented apps because that's primarily what I use my iPad for. And then on the last page I have more of the social media stuff and just personal use apps, because these ones I try not to go too much on my iPad. I more use them on my phone because my iPad I kind of relate to just using for academic things. And finally, because they're sort of on the last page, it's kind of like out of sight, out of mind. I don't get distracted by them as much, and it helps me to be more productive and focus on the task at hand. And that's pretty much all of the productivity tips I have to enhance your workflow on the iPad. These are pretty basic and simple things to implement into your own iPad and set up. Hopefully you found them useful and you can try them out for yourself. If you do, please let me know in the comments. I would love to know. And that's pretty much it. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and also be sure to subscribe to my channel down below if you want to see more content like this, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!